Article 2, Part 1, Constitution of India. We have already read in the earlier videos about Article 1, which has already said that India, that is Bharat, shall be a union of states. The states and the territories thereof shall be specified in the first schedule. The territories of India shall comprise of the territories of the states, the union territories as specified in the first schedule, and such other territories as may be acquired. The Article 1 in itself is very much silent on how these territories shall be acquired. That is, Article 1(3)(c) is silent on how these territories should be acquired. To give answer to this silence, the immediate article, Article 2, comes into effect, which says that the admission or establishment of new states, that is, the Parliament may by law admit into the Union or establish new states on such terms and conditions as it thinks fit. To elaborate it further, let us understand this article word by word. It says the Parliament may by law. The first thing it says is the Parliament. That is, only Parliament has the power to give this article in effect. So no Vidhan Sabhas, that is the state assemblies or the state councils or any other government body, is actually empowered to give this law in effect. It is only the Parliament which can do something which is also by law. So it is saying the Parliament may by law can work for this. Number 2, admit. We admit something when it is not in existence. So what we are saying is the Parliament may by law admit something which is not in existence into the Union, where it has to be into the Union, that is in the country which is a union in itself. Into the Union the Parliament may admit somebody or establish. We establish something which is there on a zero ground or a very at a very nascent stage. So the Parliament may establish somebody or admit somebody into the Union by law. So what it says is the Parliament may by law admit into the Union or establish new states which are not there or which have just come on such terms and conditions as it thinks fit. Now this sentence, on such terms and conditions as it thinks fit, is kept as a big loophole in the constitution by the constitution makers, or I should say that these particular words, as it thinks fit, is a special power, or it's kind of a wide power being provided to the parliamentarians by the constitution makers, so that they can take effect or they can work for the country, as they never knew what is going to happen in future, or how, or what will be the scenario in the future, and what kind of things which may affect the politics of the country India. So they gave very wide powers by calling it as the Parliament may thinks fit. On such terms and conditions the Parliament can work on this. So this is really a, we can say, a loophole, or kind of a futuristic approach what the constitution makers gave to the Parliament. I must quote that whenever we find that such kind of wide powers are being provided to the parliamentarians, it can say two things. That is, the parliamentarians can utilize these powers for the country, or they may go against the country. But as we generally say, or we generally consider, that the parliamentarians are for the progress of the countries, so we should not think about that they can go against the country, but we should know that such powers are really making them capable of doing such things. To make this article a little clear, let us see one more thing. Whenever we find words like may by law written in the constitutions, it generally signifies that it is saying simple majority. It says simple majority is required to pass such an act. And I also feel this necessary to tell you that when we say the word parliament, it doesn't only mean Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, but it also means the president. The Parliament consists of 3 entities: 1 Lok Sabha, 2 Rajya Sabha, and 3 the president. So what we are saying is, whenever Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha introduces any bill, in their houses, and either of them passes it, it goes to the next sabha, and then after both of them passes it parallelly, then it moves to the president for his assent, or to say for his signatures. And when the president signs that particular bill, it becomes an act. So to say that the parliament actually gives output when all these three entities work as applicable. Now coming back to Article 1 once again, it says the territories of the states and the union territories as specified in the first schedule. Now what this first schedule is, although we have gave a mention to this in our earlier videos, let us see that once again. The first schedule mentions all the names of the states or the union territories specified in the Constitution of India, or those particular states and territories which are mentioned or which are recognized by the Indian Union. To give an example here, it says for Kerala, the territories specified in subsection 1 of section 5 of the States Reorganization Act 1956. To summarize this sentence, what it is saying is Kerala will be called as the name of the state, and it will include all those territories which are specified in certain sections of the States Reorganization Act. Similarly, for other states, such things are mentioned like what kind of areas will comprise of particular state, for example for Andhra Pradesh, for Assam, for Bihar, for Gujarat, and all those states and union territories as specified. Now when we know that the first schedule mentions all the states and the union territories mentioned in the Indian Union, the schedule 4th comes after that, which says that all those states and the union territories comprising of the Indian Union should get certain seats allotted in the Rajya Sabha, that is the Council of States. What it says is, in the first column there is the name of the mentioned state, and in the second column there are number of seats being allotted to that particular state or the union territory. Now on this background of Article 2, we should know certain features because of this article. Number 1, this article gives wide powers to the parliament. Number 2, it gives flexibility to the parliament by enabling it to make certain laws on a mere simple majority basis. That is, it only requires more than 50% of majority to pass certain laws. Further, we should know that this article is not making any kind of constitutional amendment, as when the parliament uses this article, it doesn't affect any kind of powers of the government or any kind of powers of given in the constitution or any other kind of change. That is, it doesn't increases any power, it doesn't diminishes any power, or it doesn't repeal any particular law or power into the constitution. Hence it is not affecting Article 368 of the Constitution of India, which says that whenever this article is used, the constitution will be considered amended. So we are not saying that Article 2 is amending the constitution in any way, except that it is only adding certain names in the first schedule and changing certain numbers in the fourth schedule. So that is not considered as any kind of constitutional amendment. By this information, I consider that there is enough information being provided on Article 2 of Indian Constitution. And still, if you feel that you have any question to ask, please feel free to ask that in the comment sections below of this video.